Good afternoon, family and friends. If there's anybody here who's feeling nauseous, nervous, or like they're stuck in a big black hole with no way out, you're either me doing this, or you just married Dave. But the upside of it all is there's a lucrative pull on the length of speeches today. I put my money on 40 minutes, so settle in. Risha, you may just owe me another bet here. But I digress. My name is Ben, I'm Dave's brother, and it's my honor to stand here in place of our father Graham in a toast to Jessica and to David on this momentous occasion. I'd first like to say thank you to Rick, Rachel, and my mom Leona for all their help and support in making this weekend so special. On behalf of our parents, I'd also like to thank all of our family and friends who made such great efforts joining us from faraway places, including New York, Texas, Georgia, Israel, Long Beach, and obviously from all around California. Thank you so much. So for those of you who don't know much about me and David's relationship, let me fill you in a bit. As undiscerning and hard to believe as it might be, I am in fact the older between us. Actually, 8 years older, which means I've had the fortune to be around for his entire life. And I've had the privilege of watching him grow into the best man I know, next to our father. I'm a true believer that things happen for a reason. I remember as a kid driving in the car with my parents, with mom, when she was about 8 months pregnant or so. She and dad started talking about possible names for you. And I remember it pretty well because that's when it all became very real. Too real. You were no longer a bump in her belly. You were actually being about to receive your name. As they were going through several options, and I'll save you from some despair. Some names were a little bit strange, but mom asked what I thought, to which I replied, David. I think we should call it, and still then you were an it, David. A person's name carries heavy significance in Judaism. A person without a name is like a person without a soul. And the giving of a name represents the true beginning of that person's soul. A lot of thought and intent goes into choosing a name in our faith, because a name holds attributes that we hope the person will instill and own throughout their lifetime. And so on that day, you were born. Mom and dad indeed named you David Jonathan Rael-Brook. So I'd like to focus part of my speech on the importance of a name. Hopefully you all remember a little bit of your Sunday school Bible lessons, I hope. Yes. David was an important character in our history. David was the small, scrawny kid, the underdog, that rose up against the giant Goliath. And while everyone else feared the Philistine army and the terror they instilled, little David, with his slingshot, went out into the valley of Elah and beat a mighty nation with the throw of a stone. That courage and that willingness to face the mightiest of fears set his destiny and the birth of a nation as he became one of Israel's greatest leaders and kings. Another known story about David's youth was his friendship with Jonathan, the son of King Solomon. David and Jonathan's friendship was remarkable. They had a unique bond and a love for each other as one soul. And so these and many more characteristics inspired mom and dad to name you David Jonathan. From the moment you were about to be born, you were also small and fragile. In the final minutes of mom's labor, the doctors recognized a life-threatening problem. Facing the worst possible outcome, they rushed mom to surgery as you struggled to overcome the odds and survive. Even before you drew your first breath of air, you carried the attributes of King David, and you've continued to do so to this day. You're a true fighter in life and someone who knows adversity and fights the good fight as a leader. But alongside such power, you also had the natural sensitivity to develop lifelong friendships. In fact, I wouldn't call them friendships, I'd call them soulmates. Soulmates like Bobby, Mike, Mark, Ian, Tony, and all others are testament to that fact. David, so far you've lived up to your name, and I'd say I didn't do such a bad job in picking it as well. And so now it comes time for you to become a king of your own home, a king of your own destiny, and hopefully soon a king of your own family. So what better way to do that than finding yourself a queen? In fact, Rick, she's no longer a princess. Today she's a queen. Jessica, words cannot describe how beautiful you look today. With all the pomp and circumstance, the highlight of a wedding is seeing the bride for the first time as she walks down the aisle. I can say without a shadow of a doubt, you exceeded our expectations. You look stunning, you look radiant, and represent so much class and beauty that only a queen could do. The journey down the aisle represented your path in life, the path you chose. 4 years ago, you met David and began a path together that culminated in your marriage here today. It was by no means a simple path. It was one full of obstacles and enough reasons to turn back. But like David, you're a fighter, and one who knows the true value of pursuit and struggle. Your decision to become Jewish was significant and hard, one that required serious self-reflection, commitment, and passion. Studying for over a year and taking on the rituals of being a Jew represent true self-sacrifice. A true leader, a queen, represents these qualities. In your recent journey, you immersed yourself in water, known as the mikveh, and received your Hebrew name, Michal, or Mihal, if you don't do the cha sound. Michal. You chose this name, and you chose it for certain reasons. Again, if we go back to biblical times, for those of you who don't know, Michal was King David's wife. Michal loved David and protected him, protected his life, in fact. The name Michal, for those of again who don't know, literally means, "Who is unto you, O Lord?" All that in one name. It's a name that gives reverence to something greater than humanity, something more powerful than us as individuals. It's a dominant name symbolizing so many truths, like self-sacrifice, deep love, long-lasting commitment, and more. And these attributes that you've already proven are yours represent the bond that will make you both so strong together. When I met you 4 years ago, it was immediately obvious you were a force to be reckoned with. You proved to everyone that powerful things come in all sizes. Like David on the battleground staring down Goliath, both your mental and your physical strength are inspiring, and in some cases appear supernatural. The power of one has its limits, but the power of two is exponentially greater. Your union together with David represents that exponential greatness. Together you can both create amazing things and bring good to the world. Remember that in everything you do. Continue to challenge yourselves along a common path, and your bond will be unbreakable. Dad would have loved nothing more than watch both of you wed under the chuppah, the wedding canopy. It's been nearly 3 years since he died. It's so easy to imagine his presence with that glowing smile. So proud of you, David, and who you've become. Parents may not admit it, but their love for each child is unique and different in its nature. Dad was so impressed with you in all stages of your life and did everything in his power to support every decision and path you chose to venture. Our slightly quirky and jolly British dad, who was born after the Great War, served in the Royal Air Force in World War II, was a survivor, a fighter until his last days with us. From witnessing Hitler's war machine during the Blitz in London, to creating his own publicly traded company, to settling in Israel when it was truly the wild, wild west, our father was an extraordinary man. He was the salt of the earth. He loved every minute of life, and even more than that, he loved his sons with all his heart. He saw so much of himself in you, David, and boasted how you saved his life as he nearly drowned at sea one time. Jessica, as Mom said on Friday night, you and our dad both had the good fortune of knowing one another. Dad welcomed you and warmed to you instantly. When David began speaking to Dad about his relationship with you, he began seeking Dad's approval. I also spoke to Dad at his bedside in his final year. I asked him what he thought, and if you two were to marry, what he'd like to say if he couldn't be there. Dad taught us so many important things. One of his wisest comments to us was, don't marry the person who you can't live without, but rather marry the one you can live with. Dad told me he loved you like a daughter and wished he could be there to bless you both with a life full of happiness. He told me to remind you of the important things. Be good to one another, smile even if you feel you have nothing to smile about, and most importantly, respect one another. I asked him if he had any regrets, and his only regret was that he would not live to see the grandchildren you two would someday bring. You both took care of Dad in his final days and paid him the greatest respect and dignity children could possibly show a parent. As much as he detested his final 2 years with all his medical impairments, it brought us so much closer together as a family, and I cherish that time more than any others we had together. Okay, I'll lighten up a little, a little too heavy. So Jessica, in case you didn't know, your Greek life from Gamma Phi Beta kind of continues. Let me explain this one. You joined the House of David in both religion and the man you've married. The House of David is represented by the Star of David, which was later adopted as a symbol of the Jewish people and found today on Israel's flag. If you look closely, you'll notice the Star of David is composed of 2 opposing triangles that partially overlap one another. The name David in biblical times would have been written with 2 triangles, or deltas, and a phi in the middle. So the family crest, or symbol for the House of David, would have been a blend of the 2 deltas creating the star. So Jess, welcome to your new home of Delta Phi Delta. But actually, if you read Delta Phi Delta, it's David, or David. Just to give you guys a little bit of, we can start there. I'll leave that to Dave. Choosing this stunning location for your wedding is incredible, and the views are unreal. I mean, really, just take a sec to look where you guys are at. This is amazing. It's inspiring, and it's a reminder of forces so much greater than us. It should be a reminder to us all to stay humble and give respect to our surroundings. It's a reminder of the beauty and greatness that can come from the awesome forces of land and water binding together. And I think it's so befitting of you both. So with that, I'd like to raise a toast, another toast, to David and Jessica, also known as David and Michal. I'd like to bless them in the name of our mother Leona and our late father Graham. Que el futuro les dé la felicidad, que el futuro mantenga su salud, que el corazón mantenga su amor, y que sus abrazos tengan sus niños aún por venir. May the future hold your happiness, may the future hold your health, may your heart hold your love, and may your arms hold your babies yet to come. David, always remember, treat your wife like a queen, and she'll make you a king. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
It's beautiful.
That's Spanish.